Thank you for that very generous welcome. And can we give Mark Martinez a round of applause? And thank you to every member of the San Joaquin County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I was delighted to be invited to speak to you today, and I'm thrilled to be here. You know, it's fun to be among so many inspiring leaders. Each of you is a tremendous asset to your community and to California. And as I was getting ready for this event, I discovered a few statistics that I think you will be interested in. In the past few years, Latina-owned businesses have been among the fastest growing sectors of businesses in California. In fact, every Latina in this room should be very proud of the contribution you're making to the California economy. From 1997 to 2006, the number of Latina-owned businesses increased by over 120%. And in 2006, Latina-owned businesses generated over $45 billion in annual sales. How about that? As business leaders, you know that many challenges can be overcome. And we have to tackle tough issues in California today. You know the statistics. We have a 12.5% unemployment rate in California today. In San Joaquin County alone, that unemployment rate stands at 18.4%. Just to give you a little perspective on what that 12.5% unemployment means, it means 2.3 million Californians without a job. That's more population than 15 states in the entire United States. We have a kindergarten through 12th grade education system that is not what we should be proud of. In the 50s, we had the #1 public school system in America. Today, we are rated close to the bottom in terms of performance among all 50 states. And we have a budget deficit that continues to increase as Sacramento politicians mismanage the state and spend our way into debt. I think you probably know that our budget deficit today stands at $20 billion over the next 16 months. That's despite cutting $12.5 billion from the cost structure of the state and increasing taxes by $12.5 billion. So I am excited to take up this challenge. But before I tell you how I think we can move forward in California, what I thought I might do is tell you a little bit about my background, because I've not met many of you before. And there's going to be a common theme here, as you heard from many speakers. My mother was a big influence on me as well. But I was born and raised on Long Island, a little town halfway out on the North Shore. I'm the youngest of 3 children. My older brother is a doctor. My older sister works in mental health. My dad was a businessman in New York, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. But I have to tell you, a very adventurous stay-at-home mom. And she instilled in me and my brother and sister a core set of values that I live by today. And one of those values, Triana talked about. And the way I phrase it is, you have to have a bias for action. The price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake. You learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. And if you go through life worried about making a mistake or worried about what other people think of you, you will not have the joy and the success that you might otherwise have. And I'll tell you a little story about my mom. During World War II, she wanted to join up in the war effort. And she did what was really available to women at the time. She joined the Red Cross in Boston, Massachusetts. Her first day at work, she showed up. And the head of the Red Cross in Boston said, "We need this class of women to go to New Guinea in the South Pacific." My mother was a little surprised. She got on a plane from Boston to San Francisco and then got on a troop ship for 30 days to Papua New Guinea. She said the very best thing about that troop ship was she got seasick and lost 30 pounds. But she gets to New Guinea and the troop ship of women is greeted by the base commander. And he said, "We have a shortage of airplane mechanics and truck mechanics. Which of you women would like to volunteer?" Trust me, my mother had never looked under the hood of anything. But she raised her hand because she knew that was where the need was greatest. And 4 years later, in the South Pacific, she was a fully certified airplane mechanic and a fully certified truck mechanic. And she inspired my brother and sister and me. She said, "You can do anything you set your mind to, because today I can overhaul a Jeep engine faster than the men." I'll tell you, it's hard sometimes for me to tell the story about my mom, because she died on January 18th. And I know she's watching this race. She wanted to see how this governor race turned out, but she was 89 years old and had been in failing health for well over a year, but I know she's watching. So the reason that I decided to run for governor of California is very simple. I refuse to let California fail. And make no mistake about it, I think we're in the worst situation I've seen since I moved to the state in 1981. As I said, we have tremendous challenges facing us. And I think we can turn California around, but my view is it's going to take a different kind of leadership and an entirely different approach. You know, Einstein had it right when he said the definition of insanity is to keep on doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for different results. So my approach to fixing California is anchored in focus. I am a big believer in focus. Think about your own lives, your business lives, your family lives. Isn't it true that you really can only do 3 things at 100% and do 3 things really well? And I think if you go to Sacramento today with too broad an agenda, given the crisis we face, you'll be stymied at every turn by the legislature, by the incumbent interests, by the bureaucracy, by the protectors of the status quo. So I want to give every ounce of energy I have to accomplishing 3 things. And for me, first and foremost, is creating and keeping jobs in California. If we do not put Californians back to work, there is no way out of this mess. And we have got to fundamentally improve the business climate for all businesses of all sizes in California. And Trona mentioned it. Small businesses account for the vast majority of economic activity in California. Virtually all new jobs are created by small businesses. And so we have got to do 3 things. We have got to first and foremost streamline regulation. Every small business I talk to says, yes, taxes are an issue, but regulation makes it so hard for me. And I know this. When I was the CEO of eBay, we wanted to build a new building in Silicon Valley that would house 3,000 white-collar computer programming jobs. I thought the state would be my new best friend. How can we help you build your building faster? We want to get those people to work. Quite the opposite. 2.5 years later, 25 permits, 3 consulting firms that we have to hire to navigate the labyrinth of California regulations. It's simply not competitive. Our jobs are being stolen by Colorado, Arizona, Texas, Utah, and Nevada. I don't know if you saw what happened over Valentine's Day. The governor of Colorado, Governor Ritter, sent a lovely pink envelope to the top 1,000 companies in California. And the title of the envelope was, Colorado Loves California's Businesses. And there was a side-by-side comparison of tax rates, regulations, the quality of our kindergarten through 12th grade education systems. So we have to stand up and compete for those jobs. We've got to have an economic development team that we haven't had in California for many, many years. And I would be the chief sales officer for this economic development team. And I want to put a digital billboard outside the governor's office that shows how many jobs we're losing to neighboring states. And until those jobs are coming back to California, our work is not done. And I'm a big believer that what you measure, you can control. If you don't measure it, you can't control it. And we have to show every Californian that we are turning the tide on losing jobs out of California and bringing them back into California. My second priority is cutting government spending. Trust me when I tell you, we are not running this government efficiently and effectively. We're not deploying the work that you do every day in your business to run a government. You know, in your business, you have to look at what you did last year and say, okay, I know how to do that. How am I going to do that more efficiently so that I can invest in new initiatives? We don't do that. We have got to utilize technology to do more with less. You know, I come from Silicon Valley, 130 miles from Sacramento. Might as well be 1,000,000 miles away based on how we use technology to do more with less, to find fraud, to help people do things more effectively and efficiently. And I've identified $15 billion worth of spending cuts and efficiencies that we can get by running the state just a little bit more like a business. The government will never be a business, and it shouldn't be a business, but I will tell you, we are spending your tax dollars every single year. And what I want to be able to do at the end of my first term is invite each and every one of you to Sacramento and be able to look you in the eye and say, we are now spending your tax dollars as efficiently and effectively as you would be proud if you were sitting next to me in the governor's chair. You will feel great about how we're spending those dollars. We will eliminate the waste and inefficiency. We will do more with less. And we'll have a chance to make some investments in the things that we care about.